What's up, guys? Welcome to Poor Man Mods. Today we're going to be installing adjustable BJs in my ISF. Now, I recently tried to get this thing aligned when I got it inspected, and the alignment is all kinds of messed up because I did put my lowering spacers up front, and when you lower the ISF, or 250, 350, you get a lot of negative camber, and that destroyed one of my tires. It was down to the cords on the very inside. I believe I have about -2 degrees on each corner up front, and there's no factory adjustment. Now, there's a couple of different ways you can go about adjusting the camber for this car, and I'm going to do the adjustable ball joints that press into the upper control arm. These will give you, they say, 1.5 degrees of negative or positive camber, depending on which way you adjust it. So I'm going to put these in the full positive setting, getting me to roughly around 1/2 degree of negative camber, theoretically. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to install these ball joints in your IS, and then hopefully this will help your alignment issue too if you're having really bad inner tire wear. I also did the bushings on the rear mount on the lower control arm, and that's supposed to help with inner tire wear as well. I got those from Figs Engineering, so I'm trying to fix my tire wear issue, and this is the last step. They do have, I believe Figs also offers adjustable bushings that go here, but that only gives you 1/2 degree either way. These ball joints give you 1.5 degrees, and they do make adjustable control arms, but I believe those are only for serious negative camber. I think this is your best bet for positive camber. So let's go over to the car, get this control arm out, and I'll show you how to install these bad boys. Alright, so we have the car up in the air and the wheel off. You could try to do this ball joint in the car. I'm not going to. It's not that hard to take the control arm out, so that's what we're going to do. In this video, we're just going to undo the nut right here, get the control arm out of the knuckle, and then there's a bolt here and a bolt back here to take the control arm out. It's really not that hard. So just get that nut started, don't fully take it off, and then you can use a hammer and hit the knuckle here and the ball joint should pop up. You don't need a ball joint separator to do this. And then you can just let the knuckle rotate out of the way. And it is hard to see. I don't think you can see them on camera, but there's a 14mm bolt here and back here that connect the control arm to the car. My tool of choice for this is a flex head 14mm ratchet wrench. And actually, once you get them cracked loose, they get hand loose pretty easily. Just get it out with your fingers. You might need a flathead screwdriver to push it out. There's one. And there's the other one. Alright, here is the factory ball joint that we have to remove. We're going to take a flathead screwdriver and remove the retaining clip for the boot. Alright, there is a C-clip here that holds the ball joint in. We're going to try to spread it with snap ring pliers and get it off. Now that this is out, we can press the ball joint out of the control arm. So to do this ball joint here, I bought the Maddox ball joint service kit from Harbor Freight. I want to say this was 90 bucks, and you can use the 20% off coupon. Now I know Advance Auto and AutoZone, they rent out these ball joint kits, but right now we're in the middle of the coronavirus, and they won't do loaner tools, so I had to go out and buy this, but it's not a big deal. I'd rather have this to own. So this kit, the basic one from Harbor Freight, well, this isn't their basic one, this is, I guess, slightly higher end. It's not their Pittsburgh brand, but this is able to get the job done. It comes with the correct adapters to work for the ISF. It doesn't come with a whole lot, not as much as the Advance Auto kit, but this will work for this job, and it's well worth the money, I think. So I'll get this all set up to press the ball joint out. This is kind of difficult to do by yourself. If you have a friend, this will make it a lot easier. You kind of need like 3 hands to hold all this together. Alright, so here is our contraption. Basically, you're going to tighten this, and there's a receiving cup here, and this is basically pressing the control arm against this adapter, which is pushing the ball joint this way. It'll push the ball joint right out. It's very simple. and I have it in a vise just to hold it. And there you go. Pretty simple. Now, if you're going to be installing these ball joints and you're not going to add a lot of positive camber or you're going to do negative camber, you're ready to install your new ball joint. But in my case, I'm doing positive camber, and the way the ball joint is positioned, it will come in contact with the control arm right here, this lip. So basically what I did on the other side is I took my flap disc on my grinder and machined this lip down basically to where it was flush with this ring. You do not want to modify this at all. This is what holds your new ball joint in. You just want to grind this one down if you're adding positive camber. So I'm going to grab my flap disc and grind this down until it's pretty close to being flush with that groove. Alright, we got it grinded down pretty flush with that ridge. It should be good to go. Now we're going to hit it with some epoxy paint just to prevent it from rusting. We will come back after that's dried. Alright, here is our SPC Racing adjustable ball joint. It does come pre-assembled. To install it, you will have to take this top nut off, and this is a 27mm. You want to keep everything in the same orientation that you take it apart, so it'll be that nut with the beveled part facing down, and then that washer, and then that guide piece, and then we're going to put this on the underside of the control arm. This is going to seat into the groove where the factory ball joint was, and this doesn't press in. It just gets set in by the stud here, so you don't need to press for this. Alright, so here is our ball joint. It says if you're going to install this for positive camber, you want this offsetted stud towards the inside of the car. If you want this for negative camber, you're going to flip it around and have the offsetted stud towards the outside of the car. So we're going with positive camber here. So this is going to install like this. And this piece fits in that groove. It will rotate on it. And this is how you get the adjustability. It slides. So we'll go ahead and flip this over and install the rest of it. Now you're going to take this piece, set it on top, then the washer, and then you're going to thread the nut on. And make sure that the nut goes inside that washer. Then get it snug, and for me, like I said, I'm going with max positive camber, which should put my total alignment at around -0.5 degrees. If not, when I take this to the alignment shop, they will dial it in, but I'm just going to max these out for now. And you want to kind of make it to where this is as straight as possible, so you can see I'm a little bit crooked here. You want to make this as straight as possible so you're getting the maximum effect out of it. And then you can do it on the car or off the car, but this bad boy gets torqued to 120 foot-pounds, and it takes a lot to get that done. So I'm going to put this in the vise and crank it down. I have the vise pinching down on the lower part of the ball joint. This should keep it from spinning when I go to tighten this, and I'll set it in with my impact first. I'm not going to hammer it too hard, but just get it on pretty good, and then I will torque this by hand. And the reason we shaved this here, if you notice, this is pulling it further up, and if you have this on max positive camber, it does come in contact with here if you don't shave it. It does feel weird torquing this down. It gets hard, and then it gets easy, and you feel like you stripped it. That was my experience on the other side, but then all of a sudden it will tighten up on you, and you'll hit your torque. Right there. Now we're going to reinstall this back into the car. This is probably the most difficult part of the entire job. That right there. Hardest part of the whole install. All right, I tightened the bolts up, but I left them to where the control arm is still a little floppy. And then we'll install it into the knuckle. And then with it installed in the knuckle, go ahead and tighten the bolts down completely. Go ahead and install the new castle nut. It's now an 18 millimeter instead of a 17. And they only say to torque this to 45 foot-pounds. Don't need to go super crazy with it. Just enough to where you can get the cotter pin in and it's tight. Ironically, the cotter pin that they give you for this doesn't fit through the ball joint. Not sure what's up with that, so we're gonna reuse the factory one. And now you're done. Go get your car aligned and you're finished. All right, so I got both adjustable ball joints in. The install is complete, but now the toe is off, camber's off, everything's out of whack, so I gotta get it realigned. But this is, I think, one of the cheaper ways that you can adjust the camber on this car. There's no factory adjustment. I want to say the ball joints were 70 or 80 bucks a piece, whereas upper control arms are a lot more expensive. It really wasn't that too bad to install. The kit that I bought to press the ball joint out was 90 bucks, I think, from Harbor Freight, but you can rent it for free at your local auto parts store. And installing the new one wasn't too bad. The most special tool that you'll need for that is a 27 millimeter socket for the top nut. But yeah, so now that you finish the install, go take your car to the alignment rack because it's gonna need an alignment. And yeah, that should hopefully fix the inner tire wear problem with this car, or if not fix it, just make it better so it doesn't eat through tires so fast. So now I got those adjustable ball joints and the polyurethane lower rear control arm bushing, so the car should not eat tires as much. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, hope you learned something, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.